Hey everyone, it's technology expert Burton Kelso here with another tech tip to help you get the most out of the technology in your life. Today we're asking what happened to Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram on Monday? Well, obviously those social media outlets were broken. That's right. If you weren't living in a cave somewhere, you noticed that you weren't able to get into Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Now, part of the problem is that Facebook is its own separate entity. But many of you probably don't know that Facebook also owns WhatsApp and Instagram. And another service that was down on Monday was Oculus Rift, which is the VR company that Facebook has acquired. Now, there's many speculations as to what happened when Facebook went down on Monday. Number one is the obvious, is that cyber criminals got in and took advantage of Facebook. Now, obviously, when a website goes down in our digital age, that's the first thing that we turn to is the simple fact that a website has been hacked and it is the reason why a site goes down. Another thing that people thought may have happened was a DDoS attack. And I always get this wrong. So it's either direct denial of service attack or directed denial of service attack. But in any way, a DDoS attack is when cyber criminals send a lot of information to a specific server on the internet in order to cause a traffic jam, causing that website to be inaccessible from outside users. And that's exactly what happened as far as people not being able to access their information on Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. Now, in reality, it turned out that Facebook was doing some routine maintenance on their servers. Looks like someone inputted the wrong settings inside of a router, which caused the break between the link in Facebook and the internet. Now, unfortunately, it also caused internal issues with Facebook, with many employees not being able to access inside systems, which begs to ask the question, why doesn't Facebook have separate servers for their web-based content versus their internal content? As an IT guy, it kind of makes sense to me. If one system's down, then at least your employees are able to get in and do what they need to do. Now, obviously, this is the reaction that most people had when Facebook went down. Same thing with Instagram and WhatsApp. You're like, what is going on? Obviously, with many people, they weren't able to do their day-to-day stuff in Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and even Oculus. But Facebook is so ingrained in our lives, it was almost like this, that the internet is broken. And that's a sad fact because Facebook really is ingrained in our lives. And for many of us, it's a major tool that we use as far as staying in communication with our customers if we run a small business or potential customers. And also it's a great way for people to stay in contact with family and friends, especially senior adults who use, or shouldn't say use, but still lurk on Facebook to see what's going on. That's not to mention the other thing that was down, which I forgot, well, not really, but I just didn't mention at the beginning of the video, Facebook Messenger. A lot of people use that to make calls and to communicate with people, and that service was down too. So it just adds up to a lot of frustration and a lot of confusion with a service which has had trust issues in recent years. Now, obviously, there's many things that have occurred on Facebook that have caused people to lack trust in the social media giant. Number one, we can go all the way back to the old Cambridge Analytica fiasco a few years ago, where it found out that Facebook was sharing your personal secrets with Cambridge Analytica, which led to a change in Facebook not allowing shared apps to easily access Facebook content. And it also opened it up where users could go into Facebook and disable apps that were automatically included in the Facebook platform. A recent problem that has occurred is the whole censorship thing with Facebook. Everyone feels that they're being censored with their content on Facebook. The sad reality is, people, is that if you post content on Facebook, Facebook owns it. It is a private site, believe it or not, open to the public, but in the end, when you sign up for that account and sign the terms of service, you're basically saying, Facebook owns my content. That's true. That's the sad reality of a lot of websites out there. And yes, it's free, but usually if a product is free on the internet, that means that you are the product. So other things that have occurred with Facebook, with all of everything that's going on, is the whole COVID situation, with people sharing misinformation as far as COVID is concerned. And Facebook has done a job as far as trying to make sure that that content isn't being spread, and with people's posts being removed, it's just has created a perfect storm, as now more and more people have a love-hate relationship with Facebook. But it's kind of hard to hate it because many of us are so ingrained, or it's so ingrained in our lives, and it's a good possibility right now you're watching this video on Facebook. It's crazy, right? Well, there's things that you can do in order to kind of make Facebook a little bit more, I don't know what the correct word is, but just to make sure that you aren't stuck in a trap with Facebook. One of the things that you can do is to start to diversify the social media platforms that you integrate yourselves with or communicate with. There's other channels out there that maybe not as robust as Facebook that you can get on, such as Twitter. A lot of people took to Twitter on Monday to stay in communication with people, or just to scratch that social media itch that they may have had. Also, there's other services like TikTok, Snapchat, that people can gravitate to in order to just be able to post or express themselves on social media. It begs to ask the question, where does the future of Facebook lie? And I would love your comments in the comment section as far as what do you think this is going to have on Facebook. Now, as far as financials, that could be a problem, because on Monday, Facebook stock dropped at least 6%, which resulted in the company losing about $50 billion. And I say 50 billion like Dr. Evil, not million, but billion. So that's quite a bit of loss of money too. But also with Facebook, it also, and I didn't mean to use also and also twice, but it also means a lack of confidence in the social media platform itself. There's been a lot going on, and as I said earlier, people just have really had trust issues with Facebook, and it's just starting to really cause issues down the road. So rather than just getting yourself ingrained in Facebook, other things that you can do, especially if you're a small business, start directing people away from your Facebook account and start communicating with people more with email, and also with well, I shouldn't say email, but yeah, email, because I mean that's the only thing that you can do. But email is probably one of the better things to communicate with people with, just for the simple fact that you don't control your social media accounts. You really don't. So if you can start developing relationships with people on email, and like I said earlier, on other social media platforms, it's really going to go a long way as far as making sure that you always have an avenue to stay in contact with people as far as the online community is concerned. Now, what about this guy here? What's going to happen to Zuckerberg? Is he got to go back in front of Congress or in the Senate to talk about what's going on with Facebook? I would say probably unlikely, just for the simple fact that this was an internal issue, basically issue where an IT professional working for Facebook, or a team of IT professionals working for Facebook, goofed up some settings within one of the routers inside of Facebook. So maybe those guys are going to get canned, but I don't think this is a data breach or a situation where they may be in front of Congress for this incident. But it begs to bring the question of, what about the whole 60 Minutes interview with the Facebook whistleblower, with the fact that they are saying that people internally knew that Facebook was harmful to the community at large. And you're probably asking, how is Facebook harmful? Well, if you've watched the Social Dilemma documentary on Netflix, you will know that Facebook, along with a lot of other social media platforms, are designed to be addictive, and that may explain why many of us are constantly staring at our phones on a regular basis. The whistleblower likened Facebook to the tobacco industry, and that's some pretty serious allegations, because as we know, cigarettes are addictive, and Philip Morris and some of the other larger companies made cigarettes more addictive by altering the chemistry of cigarettes. Caused a lot of deaths. Now, Facebook is not necessarily causing a lot of deaths, but it is causing a lot of problems in our society. So maybe Zuckerberg will be back in front of Congress talking about Facebook and how it all plays out in our society. And I think the other thing that was mentioned was the fact that Facebook is kind of considered a monopoly as far as social media and other aspects are concerned. Because if you look at all the tools that Facebook has involved, they own another social media network. They also own a WhatsApp, which would be considered a web communication tool. And not to mention the fact that they have their own version of YouTube with Facebook, not stories, but Facebook videos. And they've got live streaming, and you can get your daily news on Facebook. So really, with the social media platform, you don't have to go far to see everything that's going on the internet. So it'll be an interesting thing to see what's going to happen with the future of Facebook. So I hope you survived on Monday without being able to contact with Facebook and Instagram. And let's hope we don't have outages like that again. But in the meantime, maybe it's time to start looking at other social media platforms so that you don't have to worry about not staying in communication with your friends, your customers, and potential customers. So if you got comments or questions or want to start a discussion about the whole Facebook outage on Monday, leave a comment in the comment section below. And I always have to roll this graphic up here. If you like this video, be sure to share it with your friends, like this video, and also be sure to follow myself, Burton Kelso, the technology expert, on all of the social media platforms above. And that's kind of ironic. See that Facebook and Instagram are in the list of those icons out there. But as you can see, there's two more that Facebook doesn't own, Twitter and LinkedIn. So we can connect there as well, too. So with that said, I love technology. I've read all the manuals, and I'm serious about making technology fun and easy to use for everyone. So take care of yourself and do many things to make you smile. And thanks for watching.